Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? Welcome back to Farmville. At least he's turning round. Sort of. Now what are you doing? What was the point in driving all the way down there if you're not going to turn round? He's going to go here and turn round. You watch, he's going to lower the cultivator in here. He's not going to go back down to the end of the field where he drove all the way down there. And he turns around and he goes to here. Yeah, you know what? No, you're fired. Go away. No, I don't feel guilty about firing someone. Not in the slightest. Let's try the next employee. One day, someone will get the message round here that Frithgar don't put up with nonsense, and if you want to keep your job, then you better do your job. Simple as that. If you want to keep the job, then do the job. It's not like I'm asking for much. Ish, sort of. Let's go over here. Don't answer those questions. And we want a chainsaw. We're going to take out this tree right here. There he goes. Someone did suggest that maybe I could find a way to be chipping these trees to sell them to the BGA. Not the BGA, just to sell them to anyone. Maybe we could do it like that. I thought about this, but I've decided that I don't want to do that because it just ends up... It's more messing around, and I really don't want to get involved with it. I don't want to be doing anything with trees in this series, or at least for most of this series. So we will just do it like this to get rid of any trees that we don't want. So there's that one gone as well. Not going to worry about any more over there, but what I am going to do is going to have a look at you. Alright, you're doing a really good job. I'm really pleased with you. Proud of you. I'm absolutely proud of you. And what I am going to do, though, is I'm going to go over here. That bit there doesn't matter. I'm going to drive up this side again, and I'm going to do another pass down the long side of the field there, and then I'm going to start them working on the short end from over here. From down that end, down there it'll be. And I just want a little bit more room here for us to be able to work with, because we're going to be going out into this field a bit. The fact that we've got a pretty much level field here to begin with is going to make this job a little bit easier. That much we at least can be grateful for. So let's bring you down to there like that. So now we've got more room to play with on this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the tractor over this way. We're going to lower that one down there, and let's just manually take a couple of swipes like this. That one, and you can go to there, and then this one here I'm going to actually get the hired help going on this one. So I'm going to lower you down like that, and I'll bring you up to the start of the crop. Hired help. And okay, he comes into that point there without too much trouble, and then I'm hoping that he will carry on and do the rest. So you stay there, and we need to come over here. So what we've got is a curve that comes up through here that we kind of want to get rid of. We want to cut it back there, and we want to cut it into the base of this mountain that we've got right here. So if we go to farmland, we can have a bit of an idea of where the edge is. It's all the way back there. Now, if I click on that bit, value of that bit, which is all of the outside edge and the streets and everything else, is a little bit higher. That goes into there, but it takes all of these bits, the road, and it also takes a strip here along the edge of the field. Now, we own that. That value is 14 million euros. We could sell that, pay everything off, and we'd be done. That kind of feels like it would be a bit of a boring series. So we're not going to do that at all. The other thing that we want to look at, though, is this. So that one there is that whole piece, and that's 173,000. And then we've got this piece here, which is 268,000. We don't own either of those, which means that we kind of need to figure out exactly where the edge of our land is here. And you can do that by looking at the field info bit. And it kind of changes over around here. You can see that there, like when it clicks into field info. I think that's roughly the bit that's defining it. Comes down to, maybe it's not that, but that was just my guess. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the... I'm not going to be showing you all of this. I'm just going to sort of get started on this a little bit so you can see what the general idea of what I want to do here is. So this is mostly level, but all I was actually going to do, I think, was rather than use... I'll use the level tool, but I'll kind of do it like on... I'm not going to like do lots of level. I'm going to bring it back into here. This is the important bit. Is pushing it back into the mountain a bit. That's going to go sort of right back in there. And I'm going to dig that out. Because then the new boundary of the field will sort of be put out here. And I think there is an option in the hide everything mod that we've got. I believe there is an option that you can restore a field boundary if you want to. So whether or not we would use that and then restore the field boundary that we've got, that might be something that we could try and do. It would just basically put it back to where it was previously, but I kind of don't actually want to do that. I want to dig this back like we are here, and then I'll put in the field boundary sort of along this line, just not too close to where I've got the edge of the cliff. So basically what we're doing is we're digging this off, and then our edge of our field will be back out here, roughly where it is now. So we've got the green grass of home right there, and it is our home that we're sort of using. So I'll bring that one out there like that, and then level that in, and you can see that the grass is going to be the marker, that green line. So we'll just be able to use that, and then we've got this extra bit in... Bounces all over the place. We've got this extra bit in here, that we can then completely ignore. And the only problem is, because it's so high on the cliff, sometimes we're going to have bits of this sticking out more than I would like. So we can't really do a huge amount about that, but I'll work on that as I go along. The cultivator is just about finished. He's just running down through doing his last line. The mower has stopped as well. So I might go and get the rest of the mowing done. We'll do that in a minute. I'm going to finish doing this. Just marking out the edge here. And yeah, once I finish doing this, we can go and get the tractor set up with the hay turner and get that going over in the grass field. And then while that is doing that bit, we will come back over here. We can get the plow, actually, and we could start doing the plowing on this job. So I've done the leveling part all the way back through, and really handily, you can see where the edge of the field was because of the line of the weeds that are coming down through. So that's going to be really useful for our marker when we come through. But all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to have the smoothing function, and I'm just going to go over it like this until I'm happy that everything is smoothed out exactly as I want. And for once, like the first time ever, I'm actually glad that the smoothing function doesn't drag the ground, doesn't lift the ground up. Because if you look there, you can see, okay, he says it's actually lifting it up a little bit, but for the most part, it doesn't. It just smooths it downwards, which is what we want for this. We don't want it lifting up the edge over there. Alright, I have now done the edge of the field. So all we need to do is go and get the plow, and we can re-establish a neat and tidy line through there. That one can stop there for a second, because we'll take that one back and we'll use it for doing the plow. You haven't finished at all, have you? Okay. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. That's all it is. I'm not angry. I'm just bitterly disappointed. I really thought that they were better than this. Clearly, I was mistaken. It's my fault. I put too much trust in them. It's entirely my fault. I've got no one to blame but myself. And I do. I blame myself for this. I should not have been so trusting. I should have realized that I was dealing with idiots and fools and just gone on that principle right from the very start. So it is entirely my fault. Let's try putting some hired help going again and see what they do. Hoping they'll be alright. There'll be some that I gotta go and tidy up. There's now apparently going to be a bit more to go and tidy up than I originally thought, but that should be fine. You're going to go up to there. Are you going to be able to turn around? You're going to cope with this? Maybe. I mean, the other one did turn round before they switched off and said, you know what, I can't be bothered with this anymore, which I don't get that. That irritates me more than anything. Like, if you're going to give up, just give up at the beginning of the turn. Why turn round, line it up, get it into the crop and ready to go, and then say, actually, I can't find the field anymore? It's under your nose. Like, are you walking around with your eyes closed or something? It irritates me a little bit when they do that. Just a tiny, just a smidgen. Just a smidgen of irritation creeps in when they go to all the effort of turning around, lining up, putting the front of the machine into the crop, and then saying, I can't find the field. I don't know where it is. It's too complicated for me. I'm going home. Yeah. That's not how you keep a job. At least not with me. That's definitely not how it works. Right. I'm going to run this one back to the yard, and I'm going to get the plow hooked on. See, I was wondering previously whether or not I should get rid of the plow. That one over there that we're going to use for this job. And I'm now quite glad that I chose not to get rid of the plow, because this is actually a job that we'll probably do a few times now, and because of the way the mechanics of the game work, it kind of means that it's what we need to do. But as was pointed out by people previously, although we're doing this mechanic in a game for doing this, it's still the sort of job that you would have to do. You have to define the edges of your field, make sure it's right. You might have to cut back a whole load of stuff. You might have to even dig out the edges of the field if you're against a bank or something like that. You know, it's definitely the sort of thing that you would be doing in real life. It's just that as it's a game, we're having to use slightly different mechanics in order to be able to achieve the same effect. So I'm quite happy with that, and I'm also thinking that it's good that we've kept this plow, because, like, all machines that we have, they do generate a little bit of expense as we go along, and the expense that we get from running this plow is one of the small expenses that we would have for using another type of machine for going and doing that work. Like that work that we've just gone and done, I mean, yes, we're digging into solid rock there in theory, but I'm not actually buying that. Like, we're not, I'm not going to say that that's solid rock at all. So what we're doing is we're digging into, like, just a really steep bank. It might be fairly hard ground, but we're still digging into it. So we would have probably the farm digger. And a lot of farms these days have got like a small excavator, something like that. Well, at least here in the UK, a 5-ton excavator is a really common choice on farms now. They're big enough to do most jobs that you would want to do on a farm. They're small enough that you can move them around. You can put them on a trailer and get them through. They'll go through any standard gateway without any trouble. You can load them onto just about any trailer that you might own on the farm. And let's just drive this around down to the other end of the field. And we'll do the marking from that side up. So you can use them. Like, they're a useful tool, and getting bigger than that, the fuel usage goes up quite considerably, so it gets much more expensive to actually run. Whereas a 5-ton machine, the fuel cost of running a 5-ton machine is not actually that great. It doesn't drink gallons and gallons of fuel, liters and liters. It doesn't do that at all. It's reasonably economical to run. And the main thing about one of those machines is that a lot of fields, especially here in the UK, where we have to deal with a lot of rainfall, you have a ditch around the outside of the field. Lots of fields have got ditches around them. And so it's quite common to need to go round and just clean out the ditches a little bit. And if you've got a small machine, like a 1.5 ton, 2 ton digger, you can dig out the ditch and you can sort of put it into the field. Whereas a 5 ton machine has got just enough reach on it that you can drive down the side of the ditch. I'm assuming that this bit here is the ditch, by the way. This is our ditch. You can drive your 5 ton machine just in a line down through here, and you've got enough reach that you can take a scoop out of the ditch there. You can reach it back over the fence and tip it on top of the hedge. And that's what you want to do. You want to be putting it on top of the hedge, because then it just lifts up the hedge just that little tiny bit. All this material doesn't have to be spread out into the field, which makes a mess, and it's difficult to keep it tidy like that. You don't want a deep ditch. It's just usually a shallow scrape, because animals are very often involved and you don't want your cattle getting stuck in a ditch. If you've got a fence between the ditch and the rest of the field, so if you had a fence line coming down here, a 5 ton machine is big enough that you can still run down alongside. You can reach over the fence. A standard sheep netting and a couple strands of barbed wire on the top is the standard type of fence that you would have in this country. Ends up sort of being around about that high there. It's high enough it'll keep sheep and cattle and anything on the correct side of the fence you want. But with a 5 ton machine, you've got enough reach that you can go over the fence, you can scoop out the ditch, and you can still dump the stuff up on the top. So 5 ton machine is absolutely almost spot on perfect. They're not really expensive. So for our little job that we're doing right here, I don't know why I turned the plow over for that, because I don't actually want it turned over for that. I wanted it this way. Our little job that we got here, if we said that we're running a 5 ton machine to do this, cost-wise, like, I think we're not going to be doing too bad out of it. I think that sort of keeping this plow would be fairly... I mean, yes, admittedly, a plow is probably cheaper than a 5 ton digger, but a 5 ton mini excavator, but it's not going to be, like, massive amounts in it as far as gameplay is concerned. I think that this is a good compromise to have. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try and run up alongside here and cut the line on the line of weeds. Now, I know that I'm actually being a bit generous with this cut. I'm cutting into the weeds, so this field is being enlarged ever so slightly. I'm being careful that I don't take advantage of this, because I know that for a lot of it, the edge of the field is pretty close to the edge of the land, the boundary of the land that we own anyway, so we don't want to be trying to take advantage of that in any way, because it could end up just coming back and spoiling things for us, which we don't want to do. So that, I think, is absolutely fine. We can leave it like that. I'm not going to worry about going and replanting it with grass. I mean, maybe I will later on. If you really think I should, then maybe we could go and, like, replant it with grass or something, just along the edge there, just to give it a bit of something extra. But I don't think we really need it. So I'll bring you over here like this, and then we'll... Oh, no, I don't want to turn the plow over. We've already done that. We'll bring it to there like that, and then we can run back down the other way. But before I go and do any more on this, leave that one there. I'll raise it out, and I will just switch off the allow create fields, because otherwise I'll probably come back and make a terrible mistake somewhere. We will go over to you. Now, you're telling us that you're finished. It does actually look like you may have done what you said you've done, which is quite remarkable, actually. You know, considering what the hired help is often like, having the hired help do what you've asked it to do, and then it telling you, well, actually, yeah, I did go and do that, it does come across as a bit of a surprise sometimes. So I'm going to drop that one down there. Let's try that again. And we've got a couple bits that we're going to need to tidy up here. So I'm just going to take out down to this point, and then I'm going to spin round, and I'm going to do the tidy up little bits over here. There's not much, actually. I think it's just that little tiny bit of a line. We could have left that. Not worrying about it too much. But still. We'll grab that. Grab that bit there. And we will head up across the field here and tidy this up. And then once I've done that, I can go back to the yard. And I can... Actually, I don't even need to go back to the yard. Well, I can. I'll need to go back to the yard because I need to take these back. But I won't need to bring the hay turner out with this one. I can bring the hay turner out with the Zeta, and I could bring the rake out with this one, and we can have both machines going, should we wish to. Whether or not I will have both running is another matter entirely. I haven't decided yet. One last little bit up this side, and then we are good to go home. Right. That's that bit done there. So we can pick up both of these mowers. We can switch both of them off. We can fold both of them up like that as we go along. Excellent. And we will race back to the yard. So the next task is to get the hay turner going. And I'll bring the rake. I can bring the rake out as well. But what I was just thinking that actually we'll probably end up doing the raking at the same time as we're doing the baling. And I had right of way. I was there first. I don't care if you technically have got right of way. I'm done being nice to the car drivers. I'm trying slightly more aggressive driving styles to see if that gets us further along when we're doing different things. It seems to, for the most part, like if you get there first, the cars on the road do actually stop. I didn't want to do that. I want to take that one off, and I can turn round, and we can put this one down here. And that one in there. Drop that one off. Right, where's our rake? Oh yeah, we got a really, really big rake. I forgot about this one. Let's go and get you a second. I could probably actually have the front weight on while I'm using this one. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. Like, you don't want to have the front weight on all the time. Like, if you're just doing, like, the hay turning, you don't want the front rake on. The front weight on, because it's... the extra weight is not necessarily great for the steering on the tractor, but also it's added compression to the ground that you don't necessarily want to have going on. I'm going to just drive this one all the way out to the field as I'm already halfway there with it. And then we'll run back and we'll get the Zeta. So let's park you on the side over here like this. You can stop right there for a second. And we'll go and get this tractor. We'll get the... See, like, I've got the front weight on here. I'm not actually going to want that one for doing this next job. But there's a good chance I'm going to use this tractor for also doing the raking. And that rake is a very big machine. It's got quite a lot of weight on it. So I'd probably want to have it while I'm doing the raking. Now... if I was going to do that, if I'd made that decision in real life, it wouldn't be worth the effort of taking the front weight off. Now, front weights, front hydraulics might be much easier to operate now than they were 20 years ago, the last time I ever used a tractor that had that available, and it was something that we used. But it was a little bit of effort, and it's usually a two-man job of trying to get the front weight on, because you can't see in your tractor cab where those pins are and everything. So it's a two-man job to take that one on and off. You need it up on a pallet because the front weight link, the front links don't get down quite low enough. So you've got to support it somewhere. It's a little bit of a jolly nuisance. So you wouldn't necessarily want to go and do that while you're doing a job like this. It's just going to sort of end up being a bit of a pain, and it's going to slow you down, essentially. We don't want to do that, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do it like this, and we'll keep the front weight on. And then I'm going to go there, toggle work mode, control Y, and Y again like that, and then I can start this one and lower it down. And for some reason, the mower went all the way over here with one little bit of it. I don't know why. This one is slow. Now, this one does chuck it in towards the middle of the field on the outside round, but I think this is about the biggest rake that we can get that does that. And honestly, I'm not sure that it's worth it. Like, we don't have a tight fence or anything anywhere nearby, so it's probably not really needed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drive once around the outside edge using this bit that is chucking it in. And then I'm going to switch over to the hired help and let them just carry on and do the rest of the field. And we can go back to finishing our ploughing. That's once around. I actually think it would be better if I do another time round. So you've got to turn it off in order to be able to change the setting on the wheels. And I'll go once more around so that I've got a bit of a bigger area on the headlands for it to do the turning around. It's less likely to drive off to the edge and kick all this hay right out into the sides. And I really think that a bigger hay turner is on the cards. I'm not quite sure which one we'll get, but we'll get something a bit bigger than this. We definitely won't be doing it this year because I went and spent all our money on a BGA. But I will end up doing it. And I also just now remember I didn't pay off any loan this month. Normally I've been paying off 5 or 10,000 euros each month for a loan. Kind of glad I didn't, to be honest, because we got to buy the BGA instead, which means that we are able to get some more income. We'll be able to sell, like, we'll keep the standard BGA full with slurry and manure. That's just going to be kind of a thing that we do. And then the excess slurry and manure will just go into the mini BGA and all of it will be used up there. I did wonder previously whether or not I would need, like, a few of those lined up in order to be able to cope with everything that we produce, but we really are not going to need to. Like, that one BGA is going to be able to deal with everything that we produce, and it could deal with extra besides. Like, if we start to get surplus straw, we could put it through the BGA rather than just selling it, although I'm not sure about that. I'm assuming that putting it through, without actually doing the full calculation. Unfortunately, folks, that is all we have got time for today. A massive thank you to everybody who has earned their way into the Great Book of Names. To find out some more details about all the names coming past, please head into the description and click on the link to the Discord. It's a link to another video. The link is on the other video. Please also consider checking out the links there for Nitrado, who provide gaming servers for games like Farming Simulator, Minecraft, Ark, and several others. And there's also Fanatical, who will help support your gaming habit by providing you with cheap games and also giving me a small commission on anything that you buy using my link. If you've enjoyed this particular video, then please head down below and give us a like. And if you really enjoyed it, then please tell your friends all about me. Get them to come and watch as well. That would be awesome. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.